BMW R1250RT, new for 2019. And Kawasaki's new Versys 1000 LT SE Plus. So they've added a bunch of stuff. The BMW's staying with RT. It's been, I think it's the 50th anniversary of their RT, their sport touring boxer. These are the two that are really updated for this year, really. And we put the Plus on there because the Versys is not really quite in the heavy sport touring category as the BMW is, but it kind of is because they actually weigh within about 30 pounds of each other, it turns out. And the BMW is surprisingly just as sporty as the Kawasaki, if not a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though this thing's based on the classic Kawasaki Z1000 inline four-cylinder, howling four-cylinder. You kind of wouldn't expect the BMW to be quite as sporty as the Kawasaki, but it is. In fact, maybe almost a little bit more even. They're really kind of contrasting in styles though, aren't they?
They're both touring bikes, but then, you know, you got the kind of the taller Kawasaki Versys 1000 that maybe it's a little closer to an S1000XR or, you know, some of those taller touring bikes.
A little bit.
And then you've got the RT that's more that classic sport touring bike. It's compact, it's low, it's you know, all day comfortable. Not that the Kawasaki's not.
Yeah. This has got a big steel handlebar that's wider. The seat's higher, which I noticed. I think it's 33.1, maybe 33.1 inches. So it's a little tall for me with my 30-inch legs. That's what I like about the BMW. Yeah. Maybe tall people will be cramped on that because it's kind of like you kind of squat on that one. It's a little. You do. It feels like your legs would get cramped up, but mine don't ever. I don't know if you were 6'4" if you'd find it. There's a tall seat option for it too, and a low seat option also.
Which people might want. I mean, because when you're sitting on this bike, especially like today, switching on and off. You know, you sit on this bike and you feel like, oh wow, my legs are a little higher than I would expect. My hands are a little
lower and closer together. It's a little more compact riding position. But I actually don't mind it at all. It kind of feels like you're sitting in a potty chair or something. And this or potty seat, and this is more of a high chair, kind of sitting up high to me. The BMW's got a little bit more fairing coverage. It's a little wider up there. So that was kind of our conundrum with doing this whole thing, like. And that was Kawasaki's motivation for building this bike, I think. They still have the base model, which is only, I think, 12 or 13,000.
Right.
And they've added all the stuff to this to make it the
LTSE Plus. Like you were telling me, and like in your review, check it out at Motorcycle.com, of the Versys 1000. You mentioned a lot of the stuff, you know, some components were kind of lifted from the H2SX, right? Like it's got a TFT.
Yeah.
You know, what makes this the Plus?
Well, that's it. It has a whole list of things, like $6,000 worth of accessories. And if you put them all on yourself, well, you couldn't put most of them on yourself, but if you could, they probably added up to more than $6,000. So this winds up being about an $18,000 motorcycle, $17,999 to be specific. And the base model of the RT is like $18,000, but I don't think you can get one.
No,
you always got to buy the $5,000 select package, which gives you cruise control and everything like that.
And I mean, BMW hasn't been shy, and you know, some of the introductions that I think we've both been to, they say we don't really import that many of the base ones because no one buys them. I think I read you can get a base one, but you have to special order it, and you have to wait a while for it to get here. The BMW already had electronic suspension adjustment. This has got electronic suspension on it this year. So with a twist of a few buttons, you can dial up a firm ride. They also put on cruise control, of course, and now it has a bunch of ride modes. It has a 6-axis IMU. From Bosch.
What's that stand for again? Immobilizing?
Something like that. Inertial measurement unit?
Inertial measurement unit. So it works the electronic suspension. Maybe it still has KIBS, which is Kawasaki braking system, but now it's called Kawasaki Cornering Management System. I think it's KCMX.
Right.
So that they've used the IMU to integrate lean-sensitive ABS along with the traction control. So it's all one big seamless thing. You go in and grab a handful of brakes in the corner and whack the throttle back open at the same time, and it goes woo, and it goes on through the corner. The BMW's had a similar system for quite some time.
They're integrated. So front and rear, if you just mash on the front, it's going to keep the thing level.
Most of the bike is not that different than last year, but it's got the new shift cam engine, so it gained like about 80 cc's, I believe. And it's got 2 sets of cams, so it makes big power down low, and now it makes 121 horsepower on top too, which this one only makes 107.
Right.
How sad. But the big thing with this bike, though, it's 1254 cc. And this is 1043. So it's got 200 cubic centimeters more, so it makes torque. It makes 95 pound-feet or foot-pounds, however you prefer to say that, compared to the 71 or 72 of the Kawasaki.
Yeah.
And the torque is really the thing that moves a bike like this, because you're not really screaming the RPM all the time. But you can do that on either one of these bikes. But coming off these tight corners with all the great traction control and everything, you can pretty much just start dialing on the throttle on these things, and they're both fun bikes to ride. You can ride these all day. I think if I was going to do a 400 or 500 mile day, I want that one.
Yeah, I think I would too. I spent 375 miles on this just this past weekend,
Yeah.
and it's totally comfortable and to do it. And I rode through some rain and some weather and whatnot, twisty roads.
Yeah.
It's fine, but yeah, if I was going to do a
Yeah.
400, 500 mile day, I would probably pick the BMW as well.
The BMW. If I look at the BMW and I say, man, that's a touring bike, but it only weighs about 30 pounds more than the Kawasaki. It's 637 pounds, but it holds 6.6 gallons of gas too, so it holds like over a gallon more
Than the
Kawasaki
5.5
does.
on the Cowie.
Yeah. The other thing that I never really knew I needed, that one's got the electric windshield,
Yeah.
which I think is not on the base model, but it is on
It's on this one.
the one you're going to get. And I always thought, like, I don't really need an electric windshield. But this one has has a couple knobs you have to twist. You have to twist these
You
knobs.
have to loosen those knobs.
So you have to either put on the cruise control and go up and down like this, which it says, do not adjust while riding. But I never knew how much I use the electric windshield until I started riding around on that thing.
And you can really dial it into the exact spot you want.
Going, if the wind's a certain direction, you might move it up and down a tiny bit and smooths out.
Just like moving a car window up and down in a vehicle.
Yeah, and if you come to a town, you put it down so people can see your smiling mug.
To be honest, I mean, today, since we've been out here in the mountains, I kind of enjoy riding the Kawasaki harder.
It might be a little bit sportier.
It's a little sportier, I think, and for me, I kind of like the wider handlebar on the Cowie, just because
when you get going.
Yeah, when we get going a little faster, the handlebar on the BMW is a little closer together and a little lower, and it just makes me not feel quite as in control of what's going on in a weird way.
Sitting down inside it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think the electronic suspension on both of them works great. You can adjust the rear preload on here. You put on, past you and your bags, or two people in bags, and it really firms up the rear of it. This one has another feature for 19 is it's got a self-leveling system. I had my little friend Chrissy on back of there the other day, and we actually rode both of these out to Borrego Springs, and she said she kept feeling like her feet are higher on that too. She kept feeling like she was going to fall off the back of that one.
That's because you got a heavy
she kind
wrist.
of rotate backwards.
Yeah.
This one, surprisingly, she said the Kawasaki's great. It's got a good place to hold on to.
That back seat looks pretty cushy too. The times
back
where it's stretched out and just kind of set on there.
The back seat better on this one.
The TFT display that's now on this Versys 1000.
Yeah, it's just like the H2 SX SE one. Huh?
And it's really nice.
It is nice.
Some people, I think, are really going to like the fact that you have the TFT display there, giving you all kinds of information and adjustability, but then you also have the TAC next to it.
Yeah.
So
big analog TAC.
Right, which people always complain about.
Yeah.
Older people complain about not having TACs. But
well, you know what? That's what my complaint about this one is. They gave the GS, and I think the GS and 850 also got the cool TFT, didn't they?
Big nice
this
TFT.
goes with the old style, and I really can't ever tell how fast I'm going usually on that. The numbers are close together.
I agree.
I can't read it really.
So you do have an analog speedometer and tachometer on this bike, but you have a really small TFT display that, for me, I still haven't quite figured everything out on it.
Yeah.
But compared to the new
twist.
Yeah, the new screen on the BMWs, like the 850 and the 1250 GS, it's looking a little dated. Heated grips on both.
BMW has a heated seat also, and we don't have the heated seat on the Kawasaki. I'm not sure if that's an optional thing or not, really. But that's one of those things that you don't ever really think you need until you find yourself on a cold morning and you remember you have a heated seat, and you flip that on and go, oh, it's one of the nicest. If you like the video, what do you say?
Like,
comment,
Subscribe. Do something.
If you don't like the video, I'm sure you'll let us know. But we'll try harder next time.